I'm Sam, and this is SamazingTravels.
Week 15, I spent mostly away from Germany. I was in Sweden, visited my friend Toby. For those of you that do not know, I met him in Australia at Uluru when I was studying abroad over there. Toby and I met up in Stockholm, and my flight was delayed about 2 hours at the airport, so I was like waiting. And the worst part was my phone was dying, so I couldn't like text anybody or be like, hey, what's up? Save me from my boredom. Also, my iPod was dead. I don't know why I bring all these electronics if they're gonna die on me in case of emergency. Like, hello, your flight has been delayed 2 hours. Too bad, screw you. First night, arrived in Stockholm and went straight to the hotel because I was exhausted, so was Toby. After a night of not so much sleep, we woke up for the hotel breakfast, which was awesome, by the way. American style, meaning eggs, bacon, buttered toast, like I was in heaven. I hadn't had bacon, like juicy, delicious bacon just for breakfast in about 4 months now. As Toby sat there eating his yogurt and fruit, I looked like a fat ass. After breakfast, we walked around Stockholm. I got to see the old city, which was beautiful, the King's Garden, which was also beautiful. We found the narrowest alley in Stockholm, which is in the old city, and it kind of has this stairway up into the oblivion kind of thing, and it was so cool. I don't know if you guys know this, but I love alleyways. Yes, they're sketchy and you can get stabbed, whatever. This alleyway was exceptional. You can tell it's like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of years old. One remarkable thing that happened that day was we were in the Iron Square, which is a little plaza in the middle of the old city, and Toby was telling me about the Stockholm bloodbath that happened way back in 1520. We read a sign outside a cafe right in the Iron Square, and it states the date of the Stockholm bloodbath, and we were there on the anniversary. How freaking cool is that? For those history geeks out there, and me, a secret history geek, that was awesome. In my head, all I see is like blood running down the bricks and the guillotine chopping heads off, Danes against the Swedes, and it was just, argh. That's what the square looked like to me. The day was kind of cloudy outside, but the water still looked beautiful. The boats, the building, everything was gorgeous. We went up to this lookout kind of thing, and I can see all of Stockholm from there, including where they give out the Nobel Prize every year. Pretty sweet. Out of nowhere, it starts snowing. Kind of shitty, watery snow, but it was snow nonetheless. Very excited because it was my first snow of the year. Later that night, Toby and I went to hang out with some of his friends, which was really nice because you get to see, you know, how normal people live there. Just hang out, chill. Apparently that's what everybody does in November because it's the shittiest month. Not that I felt that way. I thought everything was awesome. It did get dark at 3:30 every day, which is a little too early for me. Something's wrong. The days are short, but doesn't mean you can't enjoy them. I also spent some time in Jönköping, which is where Toby lives. It's a nice little town on a lake. This lake is huge, ginormous. There's an island in the middle of it, and it's beautiful. Perfect summer place. With the weather now, it looked a little bit mysterious and eerie, which is really cool. I felt like I wanted to film a horror movie there. In Jönköping, I actually got to see a lot of the Swedish wilderness, I guess. We went into the woods and had a nice walk through there. There's like nice laid out planks. It's a nature reserve we went to called Dumamosse. It just made me feel so small. It was gorgeous. I went to IKEA for the first time in my life, which by the way is never gonna be better than in Sweden where it was invented. Not to mention I had a great tour guide, Toby, who works at IKEA himself. I am now inspired to like redo every room in everyone's house ever. I enjoyed a lot of fika in Sweden. I probably said that wrong, and Toby might hit me over the head for it because he said it 100 times. But this fika is just having a coffee or a piece of cake and just chilling in a cafe, just talking and discussing and having a nice relaxed time. I tried a typical Swedish breakfast, which was all delicious except for the caviar with the boiled egg. I do not like caviar on boiled eggs. That is not my thing. Swedish sounds like a song anytime they're talking. It's like da 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 da. Probably a really bad interpretation of Swedish, but that's what it sounded like to me. Being in Sweden and speaking only English also made me realize that my mind has this German dictionary now that I just want to throw words in, German words, into my English sentences. And I couldn't because Toby doesn't speak German, and it would have just been weird, you know, if I'm like throwing random words into my sentences. Quite difficult to hold back the German. Kind of makes me feel good about my German and how I'm assimilating here in Germany. There were a lot of ongoing jokes this weekend. Swear to me! You need to look that up on YouTube. I said swear to me. Batman, YouTube. Just look it up. Flew with Ryanair for the first time. Can't say it's the best airline out there, but it's damn cheap. I paid $15 for a flight from Sweden back to Berlin. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? They don't really have this whole nice, friendly customer service thing. They don't even give you water on the plane. They were about to charge you for using the toilet. Thankfully, someone stepped in and said, that is just too much. You are just too cheap, so stop. Awesome. For the price. All in all, it was very nice to see Toby this week. Hopefully he comes visit me in Berlin as well as Miami. I'm starting to get a little homesick now. The days are shorter, weather is colder, so tear. It's a good learning experience so far. Just about another 8 months to go, which is quite a while. I know I'm gonna be all right, but I'm excited to see my mom who comes in about a month or so. Hopefully I get some other visitors soon. Just a little homesick, but I'm still loving it out here. All right, everybody, so I took a lot of video in Sweden. Here is the review of the week.
First official day in Stockholm. That is a pretty church, and here is the inside of it. It was absolutely gorgeous, really near our hotel. This here, what we see is the King's Garden. And as you can see, it's very green and probably greener in the, summer. That was the palace that you just saw, and here's the opera. And what we are doing now is we are walking Stockholm. We are approaching the old city here. And right here you see some cool alleyways, an antique shop, and this is the bloodbath I was talking about. There's the sign, states right there, and here's the actual square where it happened. You know, the guillotine, all that stuff I was talking about before. That's Toby. Now we're walking down and we find the alleyway. Yes, look how awesome that thing is, right? Went up the steps, and these girls kind of ruined my solo experience. That's all right. We sat in that cafe and had a nice coffee. This was the overview lookout point where you can see the whole city. Very, very beautiful, as you can see. Our hotel was 2 seconds from here. This is apparently a very famous design, and that is apparently a very famous tower thing. That was Central Station at night, and by night I mean 3:30. Yes, it was 3:30 at that time. This is a very pretty church that I went into on my own. Someone made me stop recording that other building, which is weird. But anyway, here's the inside of the church. As you can see, gorgeous. Now, this I just found interesting. Little driplets of water. That's the hotel we stayed at, and this is our road trip to Jönköping. That's Toby's money from all over the world. And here we're driving to a lookout point, and I thought the road looked so cool. As you can see the city below, it was just gorgeous. This bridge with the blue lights, so cool. Already decorating for Christmas, and this was an awesome park where there was like igloos you could run around in. That's the German McDonald's, and by German I mean Swedish. It's called Max. Here we are at the Domemose nature reserve that I was talking about, where we went for a hike. It was quite a hike, about 2 hours or so. As you can see, everything was kind of like swampy, and this is us crossing a plank. Will I make it? Oh, I totally made it, but it was pretty wet over there. That's a very nice flowing creek, and this is the place that made me feel small. I mean, you can't even see any civilization for a while, you know? Christmas trees. Actual live Christmas trees just lying around in the woods. No big deal. No big deal. Here we are at the top out of another lookout point. As you can see, Jönköping down there at the bottom. And now this is the next day, and we are in a city that is where they invented candy canes. This little tiny town in Sweden is where they invented the candy cane, okay? No joke. This is our drive around there. And that used to be the king's castle, but it burned down hundreds of years ago. That's the giant lake I was talking about. And Gränna, that's the city where they invented the candy canes. I couldn't believe it. And now you will see it yourself, because here we are inside of a candy cane shop. Yes, these people are making candy canes there for the past, I don't know how many hundreds of years or whatever. But they invented it here. And I was lucky enough to visit and buy some of these candy canes. How delicious do they look, right? Look at the size of that thing. It's crazy. Anyway, we walked and had another fika over here where we chilled, and I had a delicious baked potato, which there it is, boom, shrimps on it, and of course the famous IKEA.